Hi everyone, it is the Tommy Maroon Sports Show. It's episode number 295. We're going to have a blast. Yep, you know it folks, you know for a fact we're going to have a blast because, well, this is the last episode without the Cavaliers for the foreseeable future because next week we're going to see what they're up to because their season's starting up soon. But enough on the Cavs, we got to talk about Tommy's picks, why not? Yes, went pretty well. At least on the high school level and the D3 level. Because Highland bounced Roosevelt 58-7. Was 44-0 at the break. My goodness. Hudson shut out Brecksville 27-0. It was a very good game. And then Wadsworth and Nordonia were in a high-scoring spit-swabbing back and forth first half. That was 42-21, I believe, at the break. And then Wadsworth just ran away with it and won 62-21. My upset of the week went up in flames. Brunswick, the Blue Devils, they beat Medina by a score of 35-7 in what might be the last game between those two schools for the foreseeable future. And Manor, they shut out Shaker Heights. How about that? 49-0. My goodness. That was quite the game. And then we had Olmsted Falls beat Berea Mid Park pretty bad, 46-12. And Avon, they beat Amherst Steel 34-0. And in a big game out in Akron, Ohio, Hoban beat Glenville 12-9 on a 99-yard scramble on a wildcat for Hoban. And they beat the Tarbwaters in a big game. Copley, my lock of the week, they easily beat Cuyahoga Falls. Of course, anyone can do that, 49-0. Norton, they beat Woodridge 48-7. What else happened? Cloverleaf beat Field 36-6. Cloverleaf's having themselves a good season. Speaking of good seasons, we cannot forget about those Buckeye Bucks. Buckeye Bucks are undefeated, sitting pretty up top Division 3, Region 10, as they beat up Normandy 42-0. My goodness. Rocky River also having a good season, 43-13, and what was a good game for them over Westlake. McKinley, they beat Lake 24-21. And a good game out the Hall of Fame. Hoover beat Perry 35-21. Twinsburg beat Solon 27-3. And Kenston edges out the Riverside Beavers. And what could quite easily be the last game between those two schools as well, considering the fact that Kenston will be going to the American Conference of the Suburban League. And Riverside, I believe, will be going to the Greater Cleveland Conference. But enough on that. 32-31, Kenston wins. Mayfield against Chardon. I picked Chardon, and I'm kicking myself for that. Oh boy, because Mayfield won 28-21. Again, Mayfield going to the American Conference just like Kenston. Cleveland Heights beat Euclid by a score of 38-23. And North Royalton got by Stowe 29-21. It was a good game there. D3 football, North Central, my lock of the week. They unsurprisingly won by a score of 59-10. Mountain Union unsurprisingly won as well, 59-0. Johns Hopkins beat Carnegie Mellon by a score of 28-27. And River Falls, my upset, they beat Platteville 31-21. And Hardin Simmons beat Mary Hardin Baylor 34-7. John Carroll bounced Wittenberg 44-7. Trying to think, I don't know if we beat them by more. I don't think we did, which is disappointing. But what's not disappointing is that BW won. But we'll get to them in a minute. Geneva beat Teal 51-38, high scoring ball game. Union beat Hobart 33-16. Catholic got by Juniata 20-17, and Ithaca beat St. Lawrence 24-7. Randolph-Macon is now nationally ranked, and for good reason, they all murdered Everett 77-20. My goodness. And Rose-Hulman squeaks out a win over Franklin 35-34. What else is out there? The good guys of Baldwin Wallace University, we did our thing, and we beat up some Otterbein Cardinals down in Westerville. Nothing new for the Jackets, 56-14. And Northern won 54-16. I'm just saying Ohio Northern's got a good season this year. They might give us a run for our money out in Ada this year. Capital, they win again. They're not doing as bad as I thought they'd do. 52-27 over Manchester. Bluffton beat Anderson 49-7. And, of course, what else happened? Gustavus Adolphus won 35-21. And Washington Jefferson, the Presidents, beat the Titans 24-7. FBS Division 1A, whatever you want to call it. Let's look at that, why not? Ohio State beat Illinois. Ohio State is just on fire this season. My goodness. 34-16. How about those Alabama Crimson Tide? They won again. They just beat Mizzou in what could have been a trap game, but Alabama won 27-24. I saw this. It's a funny stat, but Kalen DeBoer, every time he wears a black sweater, he does much better as Alabama's head coach than when he doesn't. He's 12-2 in the black sweater, and I think he's 2-3 when he's not. A funny superstition, perhaps. But obviously, he's trying to get Alabama back to where they should be. Miami beat Akron 20-7. Bowling Green, they beat Toledo in a crazy comeback. Eddie George is the head coach of the Bowling Green State Falcons. Of course, yes, that Heisman winner from 95 from Ohio State. 28-23 out Dwight Perry Stadium. Indiana proving that last year was once again not a fluke. In fact, I think for the first time ever, they're for real. 30-20. They beat Oregon at Autzen, which is hard to believe. And Texas with a much, much needed win over Oklahoma in the Red River Showdown. 23-6. And the good old Fighting Irish, all right, they beat up NC State really badly. 36-7 after a slow start. Nebraska edges out win over Maryland by a score of 34-31. Tennessee, my lock of the week. They almost lost again to Arkansas. Except they would win this time. 34-31 out in Eland. A&M at Kyle Field won 34-17 over Florida. Florida's in deep trouble once again. And speaking of schools that are in deep trouble, Wisconsin. Good golly, they're doing terrible. 37-0 loss to Iowa. Wisconsin really crashing and burning. Texas Tech beat Kansas 42-17. Georgia beat Auburn, one of the most controversial and longest games I've ever seen. 20-10. Of course, Jackson Arnold crossed the goal line. They called it a touchdown initially, but then there was a fumble and picked up by Georgia. And they said, oh, no. Georgia recovered the fumble. And every Auburn fan's going nuts right now. USC beat Michigan 31-13. LSU beat South Carolina 20-10. And Utah crushes Arizona State 42-10. Anyways, NFL time. How about those Giants? Are you serious, Cam Scatterbo? My goodness. And Jackson Dart. Yeah, that's insane. They're doing good. And Malik Neighbors is hurt too. 34-17 over the defending champion Eagles. My goodness. Broncos beat the Jets out in Europe 13-11. That's an odd score. I don't know if that's scoregami or whatnot. Because the scoregami Twitter account is broken. What happened to it? I don't know. It makes me sad. It's no longer scoregami. It's strokeagami because it's basically had a stroke. Rams beat the Ravens 17-3. And the Panthers on walk-off field goal win 30-27. The Colts. How about Mr. Daniel Jones with a career resurgence getting out of that mess of an organization known as the Giants once upon a time? I mean, Giants aren't doing bad now, but hey, he's going to take Indiana all day. And Indianapolis, I ought to say, 31-27. Seahawks beat the Jaguars 20-12. And while we're on the topic of walk-off field goals, how about those Chargers beating those Fins 29-27? And the Steelers beat the Browns because, of course, the Browns suck. The Browns really suck. My goodness. 23-9. And the Patriots beat the Saints 25-19. The Patriots lead the AFC East. The Chargers lead the AFC West. The Steelers are running away with the AFC North. And the Colts are running away with the AFC South. Everyone's like, it's like the late 2000s all over again when you had Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, and Phillip Rivers. Dear God, what happened? I mean, it's Drake May, Aaron Rodgers, well in his 40s, Daniel Jones, and Justin Herbert. Are you serious? My goodness, Raiders beat the Titans 20-10. Buccaneers, they beat the 49ers 30-19 because Baker Mayfield looks like he could quite easily be MVP because the Browns gave up on him. Oh, why would you give up on a dude like Baker Mayfield who's so good at his job? Packers beat the Bengals 27-18. Joe Flacco's first game in Cincinnati. Chiefs beat the Lions 30-17. The Falcons, are you serious? They beat the Bills by a score of 24-14. And the Bears on a walk-off field goal by Jake Moody. 25-24. Tommy's picks. Yep, you know it. Revere against Highland. Oh, come on, too easy. This is way too easy, man. We are going to beat up the Minutemen, and it won't be close. Boardman against Austintown Fitch. Got to go with Austintown Fitch. What else is out there? Hudson, Ordonia, that'll be a good game, but if I had to pick one school, I have to pick the Hudson Explorers. And now my lock of the week, St. Vincent St. Mary having a rough season. They had a 2-week jet lag, 2 weeks off, and now they're going up against Walsh. This looks like a recipe for disaster. Give me the Warriors. And Elyria Catholic's my upset over NDCL. And speaking of private schools, Lake Catholic will beat Holy Name, which is Coach Gibbons' alma mater in Highland. Anyways, Lake Catholic is all. But anyways, Avon against Avon Lake. I'm picking the Avon Eagles. Strongsville will beat Shaker Heights. Midview against Olmsted Falls. I'm picking the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs. I like to say that, but you know that by now. Manor will beat Lorraine. Cleveland Heights will host Brunswick, but I got to go with the Devils. Copley is going to be 7-2 when they beat Barberton at home. My goodness, on their senior night. Aurora against Roosevelt. I got to pick Aurora. Streetsboro against Field, going with the Rockets. Cloverleaf against Woodridge, picking Cloverleaf. And Rocky River against Buckeye. Big game. Looks like it's going to be Fox 8's game of the week. It's their salute to service game at Rocky River. Got to go with the Bucks, though. I think they're going to spoil it. Their last home regular season game of the season. So that means Buckeyes going to be 9-0. Good golly. I mean, that's insane. Hard to believe. I mean, I'm at BW. You know that by now. But one of the, what do you call it? Oh, boy, misspelled Rose Holman. It says Rose Holman, not Holman. Just realized that. But anyways, one of the athletic workers there, Jen, her son goes to Rocky River. So she said that's a big game, and I don't doubt it. Anyways, North Ridgeville will beat Amherst. And Bremen Park will beat Elyria. Wadsworth against Still, got to go with Wadsworth. And Twinsburg will beat North Royalton. In D3 football, North Central will beat North Park. Mount Union, my walk of the week. I don't know if I did that already, but you know what, whatever. They'll beat Heidelberg easily. Platteville against La Crosse, got to go with Platteville. Wisconsin Whitewater will beat Wisconsin Stout. St. John's against Concordia Moore. That ought to be a decent game, but I'm going with the Johnnies. Speaking of big games in the North Coast Athletic Conference, DePaul against John Carroll. This might sound blasphemous, but I want John Carroll to win. I want them to win the conference. And I want the Jackets to win out too. Don't worry, I want us to win out just so we can get to the playoffs and beat the snot out of John Carroll in the playoffs. Wouldn't that be sweet? Yes, it would. Catholic against Moravian. I'm going with Catholic. Alma will be Albion. Wabash over Kenyon. Susquehanna, they've struggled this season, but I think they'll beat Juniata. Ohio Wesleyan will beat Worcester. Hiram over Bethany. Ohio Northern will beat Capital. I'm telling you, Ohio Northern, they got themselves a good team. Andy Freeze is doing a good job there. Baldwin Wallace, too easy against Rose-Hulman. We are murdering our opponents unless it was the Evil Empire because it's the Evil Empire, but oh wow. Bluffton against MSJ, got to go with the Lions. Muskingum will beat Marietta. Otterbein against Wilmington, that might not be a bad game, but I'm going with the Otterbein. And Aurora will beat Concordia. What's next? FBS is next. That's right. Minnesota against Nebraska. That's tomorrow night, actually. I'm thinking Minnesota's going to upset the number 25 team in the country. Here's something odd. Vanderbilt is favored against LSU. I'd love it. I would really love it if Vanderbilt wins as a Notre Dame fan. And remember, folks, not only is Brian Kelly the coach of LSU, but Clark Lee, the head coach of Vanderbilt, was at Notre Dame. Oh boy, Coach Snell at BW said that he's listened to Clark Lee a lot. He says he's a very smart and very good coach. But I think LSU is going to win. Michigan against Washington. I got to go with Washington on big noon kickoff. Washington's kicking off at 9 a.m. their time. Oh, nobody likes big noon kickoff, I'll tell you that. It's like SpongeBob. Who watches a football game at 9 in the morning? Oh boy, 9 a.m. And Patrick eats a Krabby Patty. Excuse me for the terrible SpongeBob voices. You sound good in my head. You don't sound good out loud. Houston against Arizona. Got to go with Houston. South Carolina's going to be my upset of the week over Oklahoma. Wisconsin against Ohio State. Ohio State is going to murder Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't have a prayer. Luke Fickell's not going to have a job by the end of the season. I don't think he might have a job midway through the season. Even though we're almost midway through the season right now. This could quite easily be his last game as head coach of the Badgers. Everybody wants him gone. Nobody wants Kurt Signetti gone at Indiana because he has led the Hoosiers to number 3 in the country. My goodness. Oh, you gods. They are going to beat the tar out of Michigan State. And Georgia will beat Ole Miss in a top 10 showdown where College Game Day is going there. Arizona State against Texas Tech, picking the Red Raiders. Florida against Mississippi State. I heard Billy Napier might get fired after this game. That would be surprising. Well, not really because his teams are very inconsistent, but he's going to save his job, isn't he? Right when you think he's going to get fired and right when you think Florida's going to get destroyed, they win. I think they'll win again against Mississippi State. Kentucky against Texas. I'm picking Texas. Iowa will beat Penn State. James Franklin's no longer the head coach at Penn State because of a 3-game rough patch. Oh my God, I think the Nittany Lions are way overreacting. They almost beat Oregon, lost in double overtime, then got stunned to UCLA, okay. Then got stunned at home against Northwestern where Drew Howard goes down. He's done with for the season. My goodness. And they're like, you know what, James? Get out of here. Get out of here. I think they're way overreacting, the Nittany Lions. Alabama will beat Tennessee in what will be a big showdown as well. Notre Dame will beat USC in a matchup of 2 ranked teams. Mizzou will beat Auburn. And in top 25 teams, BYU will beat Utah. Of course, Auburn, Hugh Freeze might leave too. Hugh Freeze might get fired. He's not that good. Auburn's fallen on some hard times lately, let me assure you that. Anyways, the Bengals against the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. Got to go with those Steelers. They're going to run away with the AFC North. Why? I don't know. It's making me sad. Oh, boy. What else is going on? The Jaguars against the Rams. I got to go with the Rams out in London. Both teams aren't doing bad this year. Bears will beat up the Saints. Browns against the Dolphins. I saw it. Who's going to get fired first bowl? Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if both coaches, Mike McDaniel and Kevin Stefanski, lose their job by the end of the season. But anyways, Dolphins will win. Chiefs will beat the Raiders. Vikings will beat the Eagles. Jets are horrendous. They don't have a win yet. It's going to stay that way when the Panthers beat the lights out of the Jets. Jets, suck. I'm pretty sure we all know that by now. Patriots are going to maintain first place with a win over the Titans. And the Giants are going to upset the Broncos. Don't sleep on Cam Scavo. And, of course, don't sleep on Jackson Dart. And don't sleep on anybody. Of course, Scavo was ripping off his shirt on the Thursday night interview. My goodness. Good times perhaps in the Meadowlands for one team. Horrible times for the other. Chargers will beat the Colts. Packers will beat the Cardinals. Commanders, Cowboys, that'll be a good game. I gotta go with the Commanders. 49ers against the Falcons, that'll be your Sunday night game. Falcons still showing some life out there, I'm just saying. Obviously, they won't be anywhere near as good as the Buccaneers, but San Francisco will win. Lions, Buccaneers in a big Monday night game. One of the two Monday night games and the only good Monday night game. I'm going with the Lions, but Baker Mayfield could win that game. He might win that game. You never know. Baker Mayfield's probably going to win MVP, just as a giant insult to everybody in Cleveland because the front office sucks. My goodness. And last but not least, the Seahawks will beat the Titans. Anyways, folks, anyways. We have 70 days till Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. Yeah, it's almost here. Who would have thunk it? Days until Christmas. Let me see. Yep, 70 days. How about that? Who would have guessed it? So there is 10 weeks till Christmas. And 6 weeks till Thanksgiving. We're on the subject of Thanksgiving. Have you ever heard the Meadows Turkey Bowl? They do God's work. Seriously. I'm proud to call them my friends. I'm proud to do their games every year. And, of course, 8 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day, they will do their Turkey Bowl. And I will be broadcasting it. Don't fret, folks. I will be on the call for it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. I'm good friends with the Meadows family. I'm good friends with the folks at First Day and First Place. You should come. If you can't come, stay tuned on WHBW because I will be announcing it and uploading it later on in that morning. It was cold last year, let me assure you that. It was snowing and then the snow turned to rain. And I was not enjoying it. The weather. I was enjoying the game, but I wasn't enjoying the weather. But anyways, folks, enough on that. I'm at 819 subscribers. That's why I was looking at my phone. I'm at 819 subscribers on WHBW. Tonight, Highland volleyball against Barberton in the playoffs, in the tournament. And then Highland football against Revere tomorrow. I'm done. How about that? I killed a lot of time today. Thank you for watching. Till next time, Tommy Maroon thanking you once again. Goodbye, everyone.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.